You're watching EVH Gear TV, brought to you by Mike's Music. Visit Mike's Music online for all your EVH and other gear needs. Microphones for EVH Gear TV are provided by Rode Microphones, and official Van Halen merchandise is provided by VanHalenStore.com. Now, here's your host from Ontario, Canada, EVH Gear artist Eric Broadbent.
Hey everyone, welcome to a weird Sunday afternoon European edition, or if we're doing a special broadcast time anyways for our friends over on the other side of the world, the other hemispheres and the other side of the world. Trying to make it a little easier for people to tune in and have some fun with us on a Sunday afternoon. So I hope everyone is having a great weekend and a great Sunday afternoon. I'm joined once again by one of the show regulars and good friend and obviously big EVH Gear supporter, Jarrod Frost. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always fun.
No problem. No, my pleasure as well. And today we're going to be sharing a little bit of our love of the new guitar that we both have in our possession, the EVH Gear 5150 Stripe Series. And you had yours before mine. Let's talk a little bit about the experience of, jumping in right away, ordering it. You know, you were one of the first guys to order it, got it fast. And your first experience of the guitar itself when you took possession of it.
Well, yeah, it's I was just online one day and saw it's been a while. I can't even remember the store that had some in, and I just pointed and clicked, and I just said, "The hell with it! I'm just going to get it." And a week later, I got it in, took it out, and my first impression was I was just amazed on how well the guitar sounded. Prior to putting in the FU tone stuff, it just blew me away. It's a great feeling guitar. Has a Wolfgang pickup in it, and the Floyd on it is really nice, and it's just a great guitar. And then after the FU tone stuff, it's just a monster, the tone monster.
Now, how would you relate? And you and I, we talk about this a lot. And you would think that you and I think especially you and I, we've done so many guitars with Futone products that, you know, we both almost expect ourselves to have that novelty wear off, and it never does. You know, the experience once you Futone it. How would you explain this one compared to maybe like your standard or things like that? Was there any difference in the overall upgrade once you did it?
Well, comparing guitar to guitar, the 5150 guitar, brand new with no upgrades, it sounded better than the standard did.
Okay.
To me, it did. But the standard, like the block that came in the standard on the Floyd, I don't know what it's made out of, but it's made out of like it's like this real dull gray looking material. It's metal, but it's not
white metal almost.
Yeah, but it's not anything compared to what the 5150 and some of the Mexico made and the USA Wolfgangs come with in the trim, but. The standard made the most difference after the FU tone upgrades.
Oh, it did. Okay.
To me, it did. It made just the tone of it was just like night and day.
Right.
The 5150, it didn't have as much of a tone difference, but it was noticeable.
Right.
There's one grade of quality, and then there's the next step above that, and the price tag obviously reflects, the standard versus the Mexico made models and the USA models.
That's a good point. Yeah, because it's a much more it's a cheaper guitar, the standards. So
right.
Obviously they put a little bit more money into these guys. Well, I shouldn't say money, but I mean better parts, better woods, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So there is a bit of a difference. And strangely enough, for me, my greatest experience, now obviously, we're preaching to the choir here when it talks about the standards because we both have the same guitar. But the one I noticed the biggest crazy difference was my black and white stripe one, which you can barely see on the couch back there. But for some strange reason, that one just was like, what the heck? And it really made an A-B comparison. I really wish I would have did a video on that one, but I was so excited to do that one and then play it after. I forgot to capture the whole event. But it was amazing.
Right. Yeah, and my eBay Van Halen one style guitar also has a brass block in it, but that's just a parts guitar. So I knew that having the FU tone stuff done to it was going to be a huge difference, and because that has a swimming pool cutout.
Okay.
For the pickup and stuff. So it's never really sounded good until after I did the FU tone stuff.
Not a lot of wood there.
Right, and I realized, I guess I scored. It has a German Floyd on it, and all these years I've had that guitar, I never knew that until I took it apart to put a brass block in it. And it said made in Germany. I was like, oh, cool.
That's nice. That's a score in itself, right there.
Yeah, worth it right there. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, and the rest of the guitar is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah. And
that's good. And it sounds good, too. I've heard you play that one many times, so you did luck out on that one for sure. I'll jump over the chat just for real quick, because I got a bunch of people jumping in, which is kind of cool, because we're doing a irregular time zone thing, which is nice for our European friends. U.S. American Make Guitars, says everybody, EVH Gear TV time. Look what Charlie's jumping in from overseas. Yeah, Charlie. Yeah, we're lucky to get him. Man. This works out really good. I had a few people say, man, I wish you could do these shows more often at this time, because I did 3 and 4 o'clock on a Sunday, and people were enjoying it. So I'll do this occasionally for sure, just to make it easier on people. And Home Recording Made Easy says, hey guys, good to see you. That's David. David was feeling sick the other day. He has a really good channel, Jared. Just check it out if you're not already a subscriber. It's I know you don't do a ton of recording at home, but when you do, he's got some great tips. And maybe you do, I don't know, but he's got great tips for home recording, from small, simple multi-track units to big, full-blown studio stuff. So some helpful stuff there. Darren Moore is jumping in, says, sup fellas, so much 5150 talk lately, love it, can't wait to get one. And actually it was really cool at the store when I got this one, brought this one home. I think it was Little Eric first, and actually no, it was Darren first, and then Little Eric, then I played it. So Darren was the first one to actually play this one at the store. Carl Lawson says, hey guys, hope you're having a great Sunday. We are, and we hope you are too. It's a great Sunday. You went out and had some fun last night, Jared, right?
Yeah, it was actually a 15-year high school reunion, kind of a small deal. Bunch of friends I haven't seen in a long time. It's always a good time. Lots of beer drinking and cutting up and all that stuff. It was fun. Cool.
Yeah, I know I had sent you a message last night. Then I saw a post on Facebook. It was, the class of such and such. I was like, oh, man, I can't be bugging him right now. So that's cool. That's good. I'm glad you had some fun.
Yeah.
Wicked. U.S. American Make Guitar says, Tone Master strikes again. Bruce is joining us, says, hello, EVH Gear TV. Sam, good friend from L.A., says, Sunday hellos to all. Andrew Emery says, hi from the evening. And if you guys are wondering why I'm squinting a little bit, I'm sitting a little further back than I normally do. I'm using the wireless lapel mic, so I'm a little further away from my my desk. Anytime I try to bring a guitar into the fold here, I like to get rid of the boom stand and just be a little bit free. I'm sitting on the bar stool too, which is a comfortable thing and not necessarily comfortable. When you're putting your bare feet on the rungs, it can be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it's conducive for what I'm trying to do here today. Sam 5150 says, so awesome to be able to watch the show on my new TV. Yeah, Sam wanted me to point that out. He told me that before. He's got a new smart TV. I'm not sure what he has. I think an LG, I think. But anyways, a lot of these smart TVs, you got the YouTube app and stuff like that, and not a lot of people know that they can watch these shows. So you basically sign up, get your YouTube app on there, and I don't even think you necessarily have to sign in, but maybe you do. Sam can maybe comment down below. Sign into your YouTube profile, Google profile, and watch a show. He sent me some screen captures of what it looked like on the smart TV, and it looked pretty awesome. So you don't have to be on your phone or your computer or whatever. So thanks for that, Sam. And look what Charlie says, all right, Andrew Emery, nice day over here. And we got some great weather here in Canada too. How about you? Oh, it's always freaking hot your way.
Yeah, it's hot, humid, and sticky. We've actually had some rain the last couple of days, which is pretty rare for August in Texas. But it's just hot and sticky and typical Texas weather.
We've had some heat as well, which is a little unseasonable for this time of the year here in Canada. And yesterday, I've let my grass go a little longer than I should have. And it's one of those things where I'm trying to juggle so many different jobs, and the grass tends to sometimes get left. I'm not one of those guys that has the neighbors, with grass like this. But I was out cutting yesterday, and it was starting to rain. And I said, heck with it. And the neighbors all looking at me like crazy. I actually cut through the pouring rain, just because if I let it go one more day, it was going to be, a jungle adventure,
Right.
My dogs were, almost getting to the point where they'd run out in the backyard and you couldn't see them. So, but I have little dogs too, so I have to explain that. But yeah, it's a bit warm. We've got some rain too. So if I didn't address that, we would have had a real problem. Neil Bambury says, hello, Jared and Mike and Andrew. Let me see. Andrew Emery says, Bath, UK. And Bruce says, yeah, I stream my YouTube from phone to TV sometimes. Very nice. Yeah, you can do that with the app. It'll stream, AirPlay it, whatever. Or I forget how they call it. But okay, so Sam says, yes, you do. So I'm assuming he means you have to log into your account. And number one VH fan says, thanks again for the tips today, Eric. I was talking to him on Facebook, and he was asking for some of the kind of expanded information on that video I did a couple nights ago on the DD500 with the cathedral stuff and all that. So I helped him along with that, so he was happy with that. Sam says signing into YouTube makes it easier to find the show, but not necessary. Yeah, I guess that makes total sense. Eric Jr. does that on the PlayStation. He signs into his YouTube, so everything he's subscribed to is right there. So
right,
makes sense.
Yeah, I use my. I don't have a smart TV. It's a nice TV, but it's not a smart TV. But I use my PlayStation for everything. So
it works good. I don't think you can do the chat though on it. Is that correct?
I've never tried YouTube on my PlayStation. I mean, I just always get on my Mac for it, but maybe I don't know.
The only one I've watched, the only one I've ever watched on the big TV out there, and it was the same thing. I have a big TV as well too. It's a 56, I think, 52, 56. We watched it through the PlayStation. I was watching Pixie Licks' show last week, and he does one a month. And I never did look to see if there was a way to bring the chat out, so I just brought my iPad out and was using the iPad just for the chat. So that was cool. But I'll have to look and see if there is for sure. Let me see here. U.S. American Mega Guitars, that's Gary. I'll just refer to him as Gary. Says DD500 demo was excellent. Quentin James jumping in, people that you know, obviously. And Constance says, hi, everyone. So yeah, I just reached out to Jarrod and wanted to talk about, obviously, the guitar. It's a hot item right now, and one of the best selling, actually, very, very good selling, because they're backward in a lot of stores.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to ask you, what serial number is yours? I know yours is lower than mine.
It's early. Mine is 1700176.
Oh, you know what? Really? I hate to say it. I thought you were. So you're the little brother. You're the little brother to me. I'm 157.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
But you know what though? I remember seeing on the box, and this came from Mike's Music in Thorold, Ontario, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the order was placed on Valentine's Day. I think the box says order number February 14th, whatever. So the last 3 digits on yours again?
176.
We're very close. Very close. Yeah. Right on. That's cool. The nice thing is that we're under 200, eh? Isn't that nice?
Right, yeah.
Even under 500.
I wonder who out there has number 1.
I don't know. I never did look at the. I'm assuming number 1 was the one that I played at NAMM there.
Could be.
I never looked at the serial number. I was so baffled by the guitar. I might have looked at it and just thought neat, but didn't pay attention.
Or even somebody that has just less than 10.
Yes.
Less than number 10.
Yeah,
like
single.
One of the top 10's made. That would be cool.
Single digits. I would actually like to have. I'd like to see if someone got that guitar, because that's the one that had a couple cosmetic blemishes that people probably were aware of, like the stripe patterns and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have that. I don't know who has it, but it'd be very cool. So a lot of people too were like, I think, and I know your answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyways. A lot of the things that people were complaining about, because that's not the Kramer, it's a tribute to the Kramer, things like that. They were talking about the headstock, they were talking about the satin finish and things like that. In my opinion, personal opinion, which means nothing, but it's my opinion, I love the headstock, I love the satin finish. What are your thoughts?
I've never had an actual, custom-made replica like some of the people have on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So to me, it doesn't bother me, because I bought the guitar for what it is, as a tribute, as a replica. And I know there's some copyright stuff with Kramer for the actual shape of the headstock, but it doesn't bother me. I like it. I bought the guitar because it's unique, and I know it's not a Kramer, but it's an EVH model, and it's supposed to look like the Kramer, and most people will never be able to tell the difference.
That's right. Especially people getting into it for the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm the same way with it as well too. I think there's actually some really, really cool things what they've done with it. I mean, just with the headstock alone, the way they taped off the back, there's actually a bit of clear coat, as you can probably feel on yours. You'll see around the taper there as well too. And just the fact that, like, I like to, this is silly too, it may sound silly to some people, but I like to keep my guitars clean. I am one of those guys where I do clean my guitars a lot, and it used to be the point when I was gigging, I would be wiping the necks off immediately. Like if I put a guitar down on the stand, I'd wipe the neck off, put it on the stand, grab the next guitar, and I haven't even touched this one yet. And if I do, I'm just going to use like a microfiber cloth on it, probably with no cleaning, no guitar polish or anything.
Right.
I like that. Now, are you one of those guys that likes to keep it clean, or you don't really care? Or
I mean, I don't clean my neck really. I always make sure I wash my hands before I play guitar.
Sure.
You know, I haven't been working on cars all day long, and then I go home for lunch and I pick my guitar up and my hands are all black from, working on cars. I won't do that.
No, of course.
But I don't really ever clean my necks. And if there gets dust or something that develops on the guitar, I just kind of blow it and wipe it off. I'm not super meticulous about my guitars.
Yeah. I know myself, if I grab something out of the fridge, I'm not anal about this, but I mean, I want the guitar, I want the strings to last as long as possible, and I want the good feel on it. So I'll go to the fridge, I'll take something out of the fridge, and I'll just run my hand under the water a little bit, not necessarily always with soap and water, but just get them clean, dry them off, and then I'll go play. It's kind of maybe it's a little bit of OCD, I don't think so, but the guitar always feels good that way.
It does help keep the strings clean, having your hands clean, and you won't, on these really light colored necks, it'll keep it from turning black too quickly.
True. I remember as a young adult, probably in my early 20s, I remember living in an apartment. I had a buddy over one time. We got some Kentucky Fried Chicken and a big bucket of chicken and all the fixings, whatever. And he eats like half the bucket of chicken and then kind of goes, "Mind if I go play your guitar?" And I'm like, "Oh!" And he actually grabbed it too. I was like, "Oh no." I think like people. I think the secret to people like Jaco. I'm sure you know Jaco Pastorius. The famous bass player. I think that was one of his secrets to his sound and his feel was chicken grease.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not that
I would think the neck would smell after a while. I don't know.
And you know what? It's funny as you say that too. This is kind of a tangent. I saw a tweet from Neil Sean one time. Someone was asking about what he puts on his strings, and I somewhere along the lines, I don't want to quote this because I don't like quoting if I don't have the facts straight, but it was something along those lines. He said something about a salami sandwich. And then he said, "I'm not kidding." So he must, I don't know, go research that. But using salami for string ease and other. Remember that product string ease you could spray on your guitar?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it just smells like well, it doesn't smell that bad. It smells like chemical, but then it's just like a grease fest, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm very, very happy with the guitar. I mean, overall, I still don't have mine futoned. You were the first one in the bunch to do that. And I'm ordering the whole kit, as we call it, from Adam next week, other than the string lock blocks, because I've got an extra set of those. But I'm very anxious I probably will do the A-B comparison on this one, because I missed out on doing it on the black and white stripe one. And it's one of those things where, you got the cameras, might as well roll them and show other people what it sounds like before and after.
Right. And it's cool and Adam told me, he says most of the time you don't have to do modifications to a cavity when you put a 37L block in there. But, the Wolfgang Standards was a lot of cutting and dremeling and stuff, and that really sucks, to do that, because I was afraid of it, like, slipping and then going across the top, But it just took longer. But with these, it took like 25 minutes to install all the stuff, and then it was good to go. There's plenty of room in there.
Perfect. Now, you did a 37, did you say?
Yeah, 37.
Because he told me we could pop a 42 in there.
Yeah, Adam said there is enough room for a 42, but I just got a 37, just like all the other ones.
Yeah, you know what? And I won't go into full details why, but I think I might do that as well too. I might do the 37. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that, and we'll talk about that on another discussion. But I might go with that 37. I think it'll work perfect. That's what I've got on all the other ones as well too.
Yeah.
I think that might work. That's very cool. I mean, the stuff is great, and Adam is always there for the pre-sale support, like I say on every show too. I know I preach this till the cows come home, but I mean, if people have questions, I even have questions a lot of times for Adam. I don't retain information sometimes, and I think Adam laughs at me when I send him an email. Adam, what do I need for this guitar? He's like, the same thing you got last time. You know what I mean? I just always forget. But I think he appreciates that, as opposed to, ordering something and like, look, man, you knew what you needed and you ordered the wrong one. So always ask questions first. Oh
yeah. You gotta. If when in doubt, ask.
Exactly. That's right. I'll jump back to the chat for a real quick second. This is good to hear. He says, home recording made easy, which is David. He says, I did an FU tone upgrade on my 2011 Wolfgang USA model, and it made a pretty big difference. Yeah, he sent me some pictures one day. He got a PV and a US EVH at the same time. Beautiful guitars, and he got a good deal on them too, so I was very happy to see that. Nice. Gary says, 2 dudes with 5150s, great show. Thank you. Quentin James says, I want a Bumblebee. And Jarrod, do you have that one yet?
No, I don't have a Bumblebee.
And I don't either. Now, I'm not taking away from the Bumblebee, but my opinion, tell me how you feel on. That's not one that I want to rush out to get.
Yeah, I'm not either. I like the Wolfgang Bumblebee, but I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there that I don't have and I wish I did, and then there's stuff that I'm just not in any hurry to get it.
Yeah.
You know?
For me, I think it's maybe just the period. I mean, don't get me wrong. Van Halen 2, love it to death. But it doesn't excite me as much. Now, of course, if it's one of those things where a purist has to have it in their collection, I'm sure it will happen.
Right.
But there's just other cool things, you know what I mean, that you want to get and things like that. Maybe down the road, sure. But you know, the black and white, obviously, anything red, white, and black striped is nice to have. I think that's why I don't have the Bumblebee.
Yeah, and a lot of it, I mean, Ed played it in the early 80s, but you know, Dime is buried here in Dallas with his original. And I think that when that happened,
close the chapter.
Yeah, it closed the chapter on the Bumblebee for a lot of people.
Yeah, and
you know?
and I think in a very fitting, very good way.
Yeah.
And I mean, now you look at people too, like the Bumblebee carries on, and people like Michael Sweet from Stryper and things like that. You know, in a way, obviously they were big Van Halen fans, so it kind of carries on that way a little bit. Other people doing that as well too.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good way that you brought that up. It's a Dime, you know, took it to his grave, and you know, it's a nice little closure.
Yeah, that was his favorite guitar, and I wish I had gone to that funeral, but it was pretty crazy that he just set it inside his coffin and they buried him.
Yeah, that's nice.
Pretty damn cool.
That's very, very cool. That's right. Yeah. So good on you there, David, on the Futone upgrade. Quentin James says wants Bumblebee, which I mentioned. Sam says hi to the U.S. American Made Guitars. And U.S. American Made Guitars, Gary says great wall of amps, Jarrod. And we're actually going to, I'm seeing a couple of people mention to Jarrod to do some playing, so we're going to do that for sure. I was going to plug in myself today too, but Poison Ivy here is very, very ill, and she's getting a much needed rest at the moment. Not that she would care if she woke up to some guitar crazy noise, but I'm just doing her a good one and letting her get some sleep. So Jarrod, why don't we do that? We'll take a break from the chat. I'm going to put it over on your big camera, and get us, go nuts, man.
All right.
Have fun. Dude, excellent. Can you hear me okay? I had to change my microphone. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
You sound fine.
My battery, I was actually just bragging to Jarrod before the show saying that my battery had lasted 4 shows in the wireless vocal mic, but it was starting to die, so I cut out. That sounds awesome, man. Really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know if it was... It's as quiet as I can make a wet, dry, wet setup right now. It's not that loud, but
no, that's good.
You know how sensitive mics are.
It translated. So maybe for a lot of the people that are in the chat right now know your system and how you run and stuff like that. But for those that may be new joining, maybe explain kind of in a short version of how you're setting everything up.
I've got my pedal board is down at my feet. It's pretty large if anybody's seen my pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But I have the Digitech RP500 effects processor running through the effects loop. I'm using my PV5150 head right now, and that's run through the effects loop, which is where I'm getting my detuned harmonizer from, and a little bit of a ping pong delay. And then I have my pedals, which are run through the front of the amp, the EVH Phase 90, the EVH flanger. I also have a Boss digital delay that I only use for Cathedral. I have a tuner and a bona fide buffer, and then another noise gate in case at high volume it gets too feedbacky. But there's also a noise gate built into the effects loop, so I don't really have that much of a problem with noise. And then the dry cab, I'm using the Big Shot ABY switch pedal, which doesn't require a power supply. It's just a pedal. And it makes it to where I can run 2 heads at the same time, and my 5150 cab or head is running the 2 cabs, and then I have the right now my Marshall Mini is running completely dry through the center speaker.
Oh, very nice.
So that's what gives it the wet, dry, wet. Pretty inexpensive way to get something like that.
Oh, perfect. No, it sounds really, really good. And yeah, some of us have seen your pedal board. And actually, matter of fact, for people that are new to it as well, too, if you go to the Facebook page, Jarrod has sent in some of the pictures of his rig. So facebook.com/EVH Gear TV if you're new. And you look at, there's a gallery there. Go to photos, and then there's EVH fan gallery or whatever. And you'll see a couple of your pictures of your board and your amps, everything like that as well, too. So very, very beautiful rig.
Thank you.
For sure. Love it. Going back to the chat, Jeffrey Monroe says, I obsess over washing my hands if I touch anything when I play. I'm kind of like that. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a germaphobe by any means. I'm probably the opposite. I find when I want to go to my guitar, I want my hands to be clean every time. I'll even say to the boy, I'll say, Dad, can I grab your guitar? I'll say, do you wash your hands? You know what I mean? And speaking of which, I gotta give some props to him. You'd be proud of this too. Today he started learning the tapping part, but the tapping part of Eruption. And as an 11-year-old kid, kind of starting guitar, I'm impressed. He's doing major scales flawlessly. I'm really impressed with this kid, man. He's got some talent, and actually he taught me some riffs. He wrote a couple songs. He's got his first album out, which is more electronic than anything else. However, very, very cool. And there's some stuff on there that would translate very nice to guitar. And he was teaching me the riffs, and I actually had difficulty when he was trying to show me these riffs. But it's cool.
Nice.
So more power to him.
The tapping part of Eruption was anything that Eddie has ever done. That was the first thing that I learned. I'm sure most people can concur. Yep. You know, the tapping part's the coolest part.
That's right. And like as a lot of instructors will tell you as well too, it's the flashiest part, and it's one of the easier parts of the solo. I mean, there's some parts in the first half of that solo that is a monster. You know, so a lot of us will gravitate to the part that looks really cool, and you can impress a lot of people with it, but it is one of the easier parts of it.
Right, yeah, exactly.
For sure. So Liquid Charlie loved that. He says, sweet. Let me see here. Andrew Emery says, imagine the case. Gary says, Futone. Iron Z says, VH Bumblebee VH2 Bumblebee is one of my top 3 EVH guitars. It was a different pattern, and VH2 is an underrated album, in my opinion. Yeah, very, very good points. And it is a very underrated album. That's one of the. I only have a few Van Halen records on vinyl. I have everything in CD format, but I have that in vinyl. That does sound great on vinyl. So you make a very, very good point there. And he also says getting a nice 5150 balance tone out of that thing, loving it. Yeah, you're one of the guys that's known for that for sure. I know you and Charlie are a big fan of the balance era, and I am too. I gravitate to other eras, I should say. However, the balance tone, it was great. It was a great time for tone for him.
Yeah, and then Humans Being and Respect the Wind on the Twister movie. Like his tone for those two songs, like it was just unbelievable. And then it completely changed after that. He had a little bit of a harmonizer on Van Halen 3, but he really dried up his tone on that album. But yeah, it's just my favorite. I don't know why. It's just the most unique that he's ever had. And it was, from the late 80s to early 90s and mid 90s, like it was just like a transition. And but every single album that Van Halen has ever done, Ed's always changed his tone just a little bit. So
I agree. And I was actually at the concert in Toronto in '95 when they did the pay-per-view. And I'm telling you,
right.
You hear what that sounded like on TV. You should hear what that sounded like being there at Molson Amphitheater. Absolutely one of the greatest tones I've ever heard. And I've seen Van Halen every year since 1984 live. And I could not believe the tone was coming from obviously a beautiful amphitheater and venue too. But man, that sounded great.
Yeah, and there's YouTube video of they played that small venue in Amsterdam. You can really hear. It was in the early '95, I think. But you can really hear Eddie's tone in that really small. I don't know, probably 1,500 people were there,
Tops,
maybe.
Yeah.
But you can see his 3 white cabs behind him, and you can really hear his tone on that. And there's a lot of points where he was tuning his guitar in between songs, and he would turn his effects off and then he'd turn it back on again, and it was just like, it sounds so good.
I'd give anything to be in a small venue like that, front row, so you can actually hear just the cabs. You don't even hear the front of the house, because in most cases they're almost a little bit in front of you or behind you, whatever I mean. And you'd hear direct amps, and you'd hear that dead center, and then obviously a little bit of the stereo effect as well. It'd be quite cool.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That was a great gig. That was one of my favorites, and the band was on fire on that one as well too. It was very. I mean, honestly, we've both seen Van Halen many, many times in large venues, but I would give anything to like the whiskey gig, the return to the whiskey and things like that. Just all these intimate venues, the Cafe Wah, when they brought out Different Kind of Truth, things like that.
Yeah.
And that'd be cool to witness that. And some of our friends have seen that, but we haven't. But that'd be really, really awesome to do that.
Yeah, I remember watching the Cafe Wall, I guess, 2012. And I remember watching that, and how the people that were actually able to get in there and watch it, like, that's just insanely awesome.
I know. Must have been hotter than heck, but I mean, it'd be worth it. You'd be almost passing out, but it'd be worth it. Yeah, awesome. So Gary says, sweet sounds, Jarrod. Iron T says, getting those tapped harmonics always a sign of a true EVH fan. No doubt there. And Gary says, hammer on heaven, and that rocks. So good job on that. Okay, so Rich is joining in and says, just tuned in, my apologies. Who's Jarrod Frost? So he hasn't seen you on the show before. Jarrod's been a regular on the show. Probably, I'd say you've been on the show a good 4 to 6 times, right?
Yeah,
somewhere in that neighborhood.
About right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just Jarrod is a mutual friend of a lot of us in the chat, and also a huge supporter of EVH Gear. Great collection of Wolfgangs, some PVs as too, beautiful PVs as well too. Anything EVH, he's got it. So that's who he is. Go back and have a look on the channel. Just go back a little bit. Just search Jarrod Frost on my channel, and you'll see at least 3 or 4 other videos, and a lot of performance videos as well too. So you get there's probably a few of them that will show your pedal board. I'm sure we got some camera angles of that. Yeah, so have a look at that as well too.
My Instagram, I post nothing but pictures on my Instagram, obviously of my rig. Yeah.
What is it? What's your address?
Guitar 1768.
Perfect. Follow him on Instagram for sure. Check it out,
Yeah.
and I can testify to that because I see great pictures all the time and videos. So check that out. Instagram videos are pretty hot.
Oh, yeah.
They are. I mean, so much better than Twitter and things like that, too. You get so much interaction quicker, like immediate on Instagram, as opposed to, I mean, I'm still out there on Twitter and things like that, but it's just not there.
Right.
It's nice. This is quite cool. Iron Z says, he's the man, that's who. I love it. That's good. That's right. I second that for sure. Let me see here. Constance says, Eric, how does EVH get the sound in the opening of Hear About It later? This is from Dave. That's a nice clean tone, slightly distorted with obviously the flanger, and a very, very slow sweep. And that's one of my favorite tones. I love that. And Iron G says, yes, at Molson Amphitheater VH show is amazing. I've seen countless shows there myself. It's my favorite venue in Toronto, for sure. And actually, a little Eric and I, Eric Jr.'s very first Van Halen concert was the Different Kind of Truth tour at that same amphitheater. So that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, very, very
nice.
cool. Kind of a full circle kind of deal. You know what I mean? So very cool. Let me see here. Mauricio says, hardly anyone talks about Me Wise Magic. Wise, I could see and hear Eddie playing it. Any thoughts? Let's turn it over to you on that.
Me Wise Magic, I love those songs on Best of Volume 1, the two that they did with Dave after Sammy and Van Halen split. Yeah, they're great songs. They don't really get a whole lot of recognition, and I don't even think people have really heard them play them live. But Me Wise Magic, I think Ed played that on his Steinberger.
I'm almost positive he did on that, yep, because he's got the Transtram going on that.
Yeah, so he either played that on a Steinberger or that was when he had a Wolfgang with a Transtram on it. It's one of the two. I'm not sure which one, but yeah, it's a great song. And I love Ed's tone on both of those songs as well.
Yeah, I love it. It's a little more brittle than some. If you notice that, at least in the mix. Anyways, you listen to that in the car stereo, especially when you go from track to track. It's like, right. it's a bit of a shocker. I'm not saying that's bad. It's just it stands out different from the others.
Right.
It's almost like listening to a shuffle of Van Halen and going into OU812. It's almost like, great production. Great tracks, but the production's a little bright and maybe not as loud.
Right. In Best of Volume 1, the songs really skip around as far as when they were actually released. And almost every single song that you hear, Ed's tone is different. So anybody that's not a really big into Van Halen might say to themselves, it's like, wow, every song is just so different. His tone is just so different.
Yeah, I agree. And are you like me when you listen to things like the greatest hits albums, either the greatest ones, and you almost like you hear the songs in a different order, like you're talking about, and you're like, that's not right, because that's not how we grew up listening to it.
Right. Yeah, I grew up album to album. You start with the first one, and then you would go to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. However, of course, I was born in '83, so by the time I started really getting interested in playing guitar, I was 12, 13 years old. And that was when Live Right Here, Right Now and the Balance album were coming out. And my brother, who's 6 years older than me, I remember when the Balance album came out, he had one of those old Iowa sound systems in his bedroom. And he just blasted the first opening chord of Seventh Seal. And that got me into Van Halen, was the first opening chords of Seventh Seal. That
is very cool, for sure. That and then the chug, it was during the verse. I love that.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Sprinkling in the flanger every once in a while for a little bit of the sweetening of it.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't listen to a lot of the lately. I mean, in the car, I've been playing sometimes the greatest hits, whatever, and we'll rotate some other things in the mix as well too. But I haven't listened to Balance in a while, and every once in a while when I do pop it on, it's very, very fresh. It's like, it's very nice, just mainly for the tone. And I know everyone has their different opinions on Sammy and Dave and things like that. I don't listen to it for the vocals, to be honest with you. It's not that. It's just a guitar tone, and actually the mix and production of everything overall is just there.
Right, exactly.
I kind of wish, in my opinion, we could have David Lee Roth lyrics, mixed into the Balance. It's there's no comparison really between the two singers. We go down this rabbit hole every time, and I almost hate bringing it up. But because Sammy's lyrics to me were a little too sappy, in some cases. But then again, too, Dave can say some dumb things too, right? It's just there's no perfect either way.
Sammy is really good at writing good, catchy hit songs. Dave is all about he's a lyricist, and he's trying to make his lyrics interesting, perhaps tell a story, tell a point, or whatever. But I don't really consider Dave a really legitimate songwriter.
Right.
Eddie and Alex did most of that. Sammy does very, very well by himself writing songs. Everybody knows that. And he's a great singer. His lyrics, they can be sappier, but that's just Sammy. But to me personally, Van Halen was a lot more catchy with Sammy, and they were able to write better songs, more hit songs, more melody, things like that. Whereas with Dave, most of the songs were just very, very, almost like experimental.
Yeah.
And that's why they have such a crazy catalog of material, and a lot of people gave a different kind of truth. They really critiqued that one because they only had 6 newly written songs on the album, and then the rest of them were all old catalog songs. But Van Halen has always done that.
Yeah.
There were times when in the late 80s that you were hearing riffs from For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
That's right.
Van Halen has always done that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You know what? And they're no different than most bands too. Bands will write stuff, and like I've got things I play on the show that I've written 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But a lot of bands will do that, and that goes to show you the test of time. If a song will sound good a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years later, and if you keep going back and listen to it all those durations, you think, okay, it's got some legs. And I'm sure Van Halen, for example, and a lot of other bands, they'll back in their day it was tape, but okay, let's save this one for a rainy day. And they go back another 10 years. You remember that riff? And they play it back, and that still sounds good today. Then you go throw it down in a demo or actually physically record it, and there you go.
Yeah, and especially, if you're constantly playing and writing new material, you have to almost have a recorder going all the time. Otherwise, you'll be playing something and you'll forget what it was that you did there. And I do that all the time. Like, if I hadn't recorded it and I'm like, well, that was cool. I don't even remember doing that. I was probably really drunk the night before when I was playing. But, thank God I recorded it because I can kind of figure out what I did there.
I can remember many, many nights saying, I'll write something just before bed. And then I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'll remember it in the morning. And you get up, it's gone. It's completely gone.
Yep.
So that is important. Yeah. We can't make excuses because we all have our phones, which in a lot of cases is a better camera than any of our parents had growing up. It has a better recorder than we had growing up. Remember the old cassette recorders? It still record better than that with the built-in microphone. It's just as good. So there's no excuse for doing it. It's laziness, and I'm the first one to admit it. I can be lazy sometimes, but it does help tremendously. And as any musician will probably tell you, we've all forgotten more than we've recorded, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I have some old tapes somewhere when I was 13, 14 years old, having a Walkman. You'd buy the blank cassette tapes and just hit record, and you have, 20, 30 minutes or whatever.
Yep.
And then once you record, that's it.
That's right.
It's on there.
That's right. It's permanent.
Yeah.
I remember hearing a story. I think it was Kirk Hammett from Metallica. He had said when he had lost his phone that one time, I think it was a year or two ago, and he had thousands of riffs apparently from what he said, which is kind of a shame he didn't have them backed up. You'd think when you sync your phone, but then again, too, it's not like iTunes. He's probably just recording them into a wave recorder or something of the sort, so you probably can't back that stuff up.
Right.
But he lost his phone and lost all those riffs, and who knows? Imagine the person finding that.
Yeah, they probably kept their mouth shut, and they're like, I don't have it.
I know exactly.
I don't have his phone. I don't know what he's talking about.
And on top of that, too, it's not like you can really come out with it and say, look what I wrote, right?
Yeah.
Because it'd be pretty quick to prove otherwise. There'd be timestamps on the recorded files and things like that as well, too. Let me jump back to the chat just for a quick second. Dirty Apes is jumping in, says hi, everybody. And he says he striped his orange Chevelle today. Thought I needed some VH love. That'd be cool to see. And Iron G says, I'd heard the unreleased version of Summer Nights with David Lee Roth on vocals. I'd love to hear the unreleased version of Summer Nights with David Lee Roth on vocals. That'd be cool. And Dave was a backyard party. Sam was commercial. Yeah, I could see that. I always looked at Van Halen with Dave, and I'm the Dave guy. was kind of like the circus. The circus was coming to town, and Barnum and Bailey circus, and there's all these tricks going on, and David Lee Roth would be the guy when there's a trick going on over here with smoke and mirrors. Dave would be, okay, look at me now for a second, and just all of a sudden I'll come out of left field or right field, Eddie flying across the stage when you're not expecting it or whatever. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, the kind of the ringleader as opposed to the main singer. And you saw all these bad press things too about Dave on the tour, on the last tour. He couldn't sing that well and things like that. I mean, I saw him a couple times on the tour. He's getting older, but he never was the world's greatest singer to begin with, and he even said it. The band even said it. It just he did the job, and I think he's working hard, just like he worked back in the day. Here's a funny throwback. I think Dave now is working just as hard as when he was in the band, and he realized he was lucky to be in the band when they were recording. He was told no almost upwards of 5 or 6 times to join the band. He got in the studio, and even Ted Templeman and everyone else had admitted that, yeah, Dave is working hard to improve himself, taking lessons and, physical strength and things like that. And I think even now, today, I think he's kind of doing that as well, too, and knows that, if he's going to be in the band, he's got to step it up as much as humanly possible and as much as his body will allow him to do. And I think he's doing a credible job. But we're almost to 2018 now. It's just around the corner. Do you think we're going to see this new tour?
I am optimistic. I don't care whether it's with Dave or Sammy. I would like to see a tour with Sammy playing all the Sammy songs. But I think it will happen eventually, maybe next year. I have no idea. But I would still love to see another tour with Dave. The 2015 concert, I went to that, and I felt like a little kid when I was there, and I just want that magic again. I just want to see Van Halen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I care about.
And Sammy's certainly in the news, isn't he? I mean, by his choice or by not his choice, he certainly is in the news and the headlines.
Yeah, and he's made press conferences saying, like, if I was back in Van Halen, this would be our set list. It would be the most ultimate set list that you would ever hear. But until you actually see something from Alex and Ed saying, like, this is what's going to happen, then I guess it's just wishes,
Exactly. I think the good thing is, in my opinion, and I'm sure you'll probably agree somewhat to this, is the fact that they are one of the most secretive bands out there, and that's a cool thing because we got social media out here available to us right now, and we get to know everything about everybody. And even with that, Van Halen is still kind of radio silence out there. But on the flip side of that, you're getting to see a little bit of their personal lives, which is very cool. Different outings that they'll do, sports activities, out in the firing ranges and race tracks, and just fun, golf courses, all that kind of fun stuff. And just seeing Eddie out there, happy, smiling, to me, that's a reward. That's a reward in itself, whether we get to new music or not. But I think it's also showing, look, feeling pretty good here. Who knows what's going to come in the very near future.
Yeah, he seems happy. I think he just bought a new house too.
That's what our friend Craig was showing.
It's like a white house up on a hill or a mountain or something, and I'm sure it's in the L.A. area. But he seems happy and healthy, and as a musician, you always wonder how much per day is he actually in the studio. Like, how much does he actually play now? Because, when a tour is in the works, it's all about rehearsing and the set list and all that kind of stuff. But, You'd
love to be that fly on the wall just to see, though, wouldn't you?
Yep, I would.
It'd be awesome. Yeah, I have a feeling he's doing. I'm just speculating. I have no knowledge of this. I have a feeling he's doing more playing than what we think right now. I really do.
I think he is too. Like when he did the little snippet of the horse and the elephant. You saw that set list on the wall. Makes you wonder.
For all we know, what it could be? It could be a blurred out grocery list. Janie could have been saying, "Go get. I need you to get some eggs, some chicken."
When you're done playing, just remember that list is on the wall.
Yeah, and wrote it in big print because we're all getting older. We need larger print. Wouldn't that be funny if that's what it turns out to be? It was a grocery list from Janie. Never know. But I'm gonna go.
It would be like.
I know. I'm gonna go with the set list because that's what I want it to be.
Yep, that's what I want it to be too.
That's hilarious. I really do hope we see it, and I think the next year, if anything, it may be the year. Mike's out there. I know we don't talk about Mike a lot on the show just because you want to don't want to rock any boats or anything like that. But I love Mikey, miss him to death, and he's out there as healthy as heck. I think he'd be a great fit back in the band.
Yeah, the Circle is coming to. I think it's Windstar Casino, which is about 90 miles from north of Dallas here in September.
You gonna check it out?
I'll probably go check it out.
That'd be good. Yeah. Now, what's that venue hold? Is like 2,000 or 3,000?
No, I would say I don't know, maybe 5 or 6. It's pretty good size.
Okay, that's good. Bigger than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen Tesla there, and there was quite a few people there.
Wicked. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Jump back to chat for a quick second here as well, too. Mauricio says, I would be happy if VH would say in one place like, or maybe say stay in one place like Vegas for a period of time. Like a residency and do new music with Michael Anthony. Yeah, the residencies go over very well. Look at Steve Stevens with Billy Idol. That's been a huge success. Motley Crue did it for a while there as well, too. And, I'm sure I can name it. I can't think of any other bands at the moment, but there's a bunch of them that do that. And they do very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be cool. I just can't see Van Halen doing it though. I could see David Lee Roth solo doing it and has done it. I just can't see Van Halen doing it in a one spot for a long time.
I think what will happen because Van Halen has not done a world tour in a long time, and I think Europe and South America and all the Asian countries, I think they're due to have Van Halen go over there. So
I'd like to see that.
They might have enough fuel left in them to do a world tour, because I know those tours are, they're really, really tough on people. Metallica says the same thing. They're just like, we got a limit to like 50 shows a year because we're getting too old for this.
I know. I mean, obviously Australia got it back in '98, which was very cool. But over where Charlie's at, his part of the world, that would be a great treat again. Because it was 95? Am I correct? Last time they were there with Bon Jovi, am I in that neighborhood?
Probably, yeah.
The other parts of the region. I mean, it doesn't have to be every single one, but if they could do 10 stops, maybe. Over in that part of the world, obviously take care of your part of the world in the United States, and a couple of venues. I'd like to see them do a little bit more in Canada. Last time they come through, they only did 2 venues, and I was able to see them both, which was great. London, Ontario, and Toronto, Ontario. But a lot of our Western people and Eastern people are left out, because back in the day, out in BC, East Coast, out in Halifax, things like that as well too. I can't see why that would be a problem coming up the Eastern Seaboard, through the New York area and back over. I would just like to be able to see everyone get I don't want to say a last hurrah. I don't want to say that, but I think this could be the last. No, I don't want to say that, but the world tour. I don't think there's gonna be too many.
It could be. I mean, they're all in their early 60s. Alex is mid 60s now, so it's they're getting older. But I guess it depends on how long they want to continue to do all of that.
That's right. Here's a question from Constance. Says, Eric, do you think this will be Van Halen's last tour with Dave? I don't know. I don't know. If my feelings or my thoughts, there's a difference between feelings and thoughts. My thoughts are maybe, and my feelings are I don't want it to be. I just want to keep music coming as much as possible. But to be honest with you, if even if they brought in someone else for like a project, or even if they did something like Slash and had different singers and different stuff, I know fans wouldn't be radio friendly, or yes, it would, but it wouldn't be as respected as much as their favorite Sammy or their favorite Dave kind of thing. But I'd love to hear it. I'll take it in any format I can get it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will too at this point. Yeah. I can't get my hopes up too much, but I'll just take what I can get.
That's right, and they owe us nothing. I mean, we can all preach to the cows come home and say, well, we buy your records and stuff like that. Well, they're grateful, but they don't owe us anything. So anything that they can give us is icing on the proverbial cake. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Steve Anderson's jumping in and says Steve Anderson is in the house. Let me see here. It says doing a pre-build of a Musicraft 5150. Richard says, are VH doing another Roth tour? We don't know. And I mean, the rumor was a while back, it was just speculation that it might be a dual. It was more Sammy presenting it than anything else, saying that, he would do it with a Roth / Sammy, mixture, whatever. So who knows? Radio silence from Van Halen, and that's a good thing. I sometimes would rather have a little bit of silence and then be really surprised at the end than knowing, okay, here's us having our dinner at such and such cafe, and here's us over here. It kind of burns you out a bit too.
Yep, I would like to have just the element of surprise, I would say, with that whole thing. But I don't really think I would want a Dave and Sammy tour. Mm-hmm. I think I would rather see them separately.
Right. As opposed,
because that would be a long concert.
It would. Well, it probably could become a 3-hour concert, an hour and a half, an hour and a bit, and an intermission, then an hour and a bit.
Yeah, that would be a really long concert. There's a lot of songs that people would want them to play.
And of course, they're gonna be upset that they didn't play.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I would rather see a Sammy tour with them playing a lot of songs that they haven't played in 20 years. Songs from Balance, songs from 5150, Carnal Knowledge, some of maybe the undercut songs. That would be cool.
Yeah.
And then doing the same thing with Dave, playing more undercut songs that you don't normally hear that much.
That's true. So Jeff Humphrey says, hi everyone, hoping everyone's having a rockin' Sunday. Indeed we are, thank you. And Richard says, I think VH should bring back Sammy for an actual final tour. I think we'll see something, I really do. Steve Anderson says, got to be Sammy and Mike, and that would be very, very nice to see for sure as well too. Steve Anderson says 2 months until Sammy's 70th birthday bash in Cabo San Lucas. I will be there at the Cabo Wabo Cantina. Awesome, that's good, man. Send in some photos and stuff like that. I'd love to see it for sure. And let me see here. And Richard says, that's true. They owe us nothing. I just think Sammy is a good end to one heck of a road. I mean, if you think of it that way, Dave, Sammy, and and I don't mean in the tour, but I mean the way they've evolved, right? It'd be pretty cool. And Sammy can still sing. I mean, whether you're a fan of him or not, I still watch the stuff that's out there, and he still can sing. It's not like he's, maybe not the best he was when he was younger, but he certainly can be. He can deliver a good performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And he is going to be 70 this year too. It's getting pretty old. I
know. You think about that, right? I mean, my parents, I think both my parents died before they were 70.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, not to throw it in a sad note, but I mean, it is older. But I think musicians, okay, my parents weren't musicians, and so my parents were older and being younger, if that makes any sense. These guys, like you and I, and everyone watching in the chat that plays guitar and stuff like that, or an instrument, we're going to be 70 and 80, and we're not exactly going to be 70 or 80. As long as arthritis and things like that don't take us for hostage, we're going to be. And Sammy is that example. Look at Keith. Okay, perfect example. Let's just stop right here. Keith Richards, mic drop. The guy's 206, and he plays pretty darn awesome. Sorry, Keith. I love you, man.
He's made out of leather and robotic parts.
Yeah, and he will be. He'll be. Holy cow. But I mean, I think the music keeps you young, and you might not be able to do the world tours and things like that, and things like that, but you're still out there, you're making records, you're doing a few shows. Nothing wrong with that. It's totally respectable. Mm-hmm. So, yep. And for Sammy, maybe it's a tequila. Maybe he's got something in that tequila that just pickles him, or I don't know what it is.
He still drinks. I see him on his Instagram and Facebook, and he's always at somebody's house or whatever. He's just partying and drinking it up, or he's on his private jet, traveling. Tough life.
I know. Yeah. Someone's got to do it though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, oh man. I'd just be happy to carry some golf clubs for some of these guys, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I help you, sir? That'd be great. It'd be awesome. Well, listen, we're a little about 4:03 here. I said we're going to do about an hour broadcast. We're going to wrap up in a second. Just wanted to mention, too, before we do, probably midweek or end of next week, I'm going to be giving away the Wampler Pinnacle Deluxe. So talking about some cool Van Halen in a box pedals. This one, if you go to the channel here, which you're on right now after the show, look for the Wampler Pinnacle Deluxe version 2 video I have on there. All I ask you to do is like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because that's a requirement. And just post a comment. You can say whatever you want within reason. Make it nice and positive is all I ask for. And I'll be drawing one random winner. Going to be giving this away. And I'm telling you, it is absolutely amazing. You can watch the video and you'll see me demoing some cleans, distorted, all that kind of good stuff with it, boost and non-boost. So it's up there, Jarrod, with the 5150 MXR. Have you played this pedal yet?
I haven't. I don't even have the 5150 overdrive pedal.
I know you don't need it because you've got the rig you've got, and plus even with the EVH brand amps, you don't need it. But it's for someone wanting to run into a clean amp. My goodness, it's a phenomenal pedal. So someone next week is going to win that randomly. So looking forward to giving that away. So here's your last chance to get in there, give it a like and subscription and all that good stuff as well too. I'll just see if there's anything in the chat before we jump off. Let me see here. Steve Anderson says, I can't see David Lee Roth sharing the stage with Sammy or trading off songs. I can't see it. Got to be one or the other. It's hard to say, and it's also one of those things too where, okay, well, it's going to be this or that. There might be some contractual things. I don't know. We'll never know. And I honestly can't see it either, but I will be open to it if it does happen. So that's the cool thing with Van Halen. It's always a mystery, and it's a good mystery.
Yep.
Richard says Dave was the absolute front man, but he's not who he once was. Sammy can deliver the goods, maybe a key lower, but hey, he's 70 and still rocking it. Yeah, even Sammy at his lowest range is still pretty darn good. Yeah, so even if he can't hit that,
he can still sing.
Yep, he can. And Michael Bishop says, look at the Rolling Stones, they can still rock. Agreed. So as we wrap up, we'll just go back and circle back to the very beginning of the show. We started talking about the 5150 Stripe guitar. So your closing notes on the guitar for someone that's going to say, okay, I'm thinking about getting into the EVH brand. I don't have any others, or maybe I do have some of the others, and why should I buy the 5150 Stripe guitar? What would you say to that friend that's asking you that?
If you want a guitar that is unique in its own right, compared to the other three color, white and black, yellow and black, and the red, white, and black Strat style EVH guitars, the 5150, if anybody that grew up in the mid 80s, how iconic that guitar was, I would say it's worth spending that extra, $400 to $500 for this guitar. Yep. Because of its uniqueness. It's a super, super cool guitar.
I agree. And a word I say a lot on the show, so that's a very good analogy, so thank you for sharing that. And I use the word fun factor. There's a little bit of a buzz with fun factor with a lot of these guitars. And as you got it up to the screen, we got it up to the screen here. When you're looking down playing this guitar, there you go. And I love the Kramer decal on that. It's very, very cool.
Yep, it sets it off, and then this is the wire wrapped around here with all the FU tone goodies.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, do you have? I'm just looking at that again. Do you have the titanium string lock blocks in there?
Nope. None of my guitars.
Oh, you don't do that. You prefer?
I mean, everyone says it'll make a difference. I just haven't bought those.
Yeah, and I know some others that don't too. Yep. So I wasn't sure if I was seeing things or not. So yeah, I do on all mine. And I'm not saying that I notice a difference. As we all know, it's the block that does everything, and then the rest is just kind of a preservation, I would say. You know what I mean? For corrosion and things like that. But yeah, I do tend to change those. But for me, the one word, I guess, or two words I would say is fun factor. So I echo every single thing that you just said. I agree with everything you said about why you'd want to buy that guitar. And number two, it's just a fun factor. You look down, you're playing it. It's a very iconic guitar. Not that any of the other ones aren't, but it's just very iconic. And it's a nice time period piece and one of the more famous eras that we can buy. You know what I mean? Like the Frankenstein that's out there, the 300 replicas that are out there is not exactly in everyone's budget. Not in most people's budget, but so this is one that we can buy that was a popular time from Van Halen. It's got his name on it. It's a legal product. And when I say legal, I didn't say illegal. I said a legal product we can buy. Right. So, that's my take on it. And I just want to give a big plug out to my sponsor as well, too, who can take some orders on these. Mike'sMusicOnline.com. The link is in the description below as well, too. I was talking to Mike today, and I believe, I don't want to quote him on this, but I think October he's got more coming in, which is not that far. So whether you're a Canadian resident or American or even overseas, contact him for sure at mikesmusiconline.com and reach out to him for a price. And I'm sure he'd be more than happy to help you. So as Jarrod and I can attest, it's a darn fun guitar to play.
It is a lot of fun, and I'll also mention to anybody that is curious, these are actual stickers,
not just paint.
So you have to be careful. I'm super scared, especially of this one.
The star, I know. I've felt it a couple times.
It already feels like one of the edges is starting to come off.
I know.
So yeah, you have to be really careful with it because they are stickers. That's another thing that's just really cool about it is that, and the paint job too. The paint job's awesome.
It is. It's very good. I love it to death. So I tell you what, I'm gonna throw something your way for a second and give our audience a bit of a treat. I'm gonna let you play us out. We'll do that real quick, and I'll show the gallery where some of your guitars are featured. I'm gonna put it over to your screen, and then we're gonna go over and we'll look at a couple of people's guitars.
All right, cool.
Okay, take us out. Thanks everyone for watching today. We really appreciate you jumping in on Sunday. Dude, it's very good. What a perfect way to end this show. We'll only add to it. We'll show it the gallery for a quick second. You and I can continue to talk because people will hear us. But I have your guitars featured in here as well. I'm going to switch over to the gallery real quick, nice. And we'll see what we got here. And I'll try to describe some of the guitars as they come through. If people want to have the guitars featured, I'll do this right now. If people want to have, what's the wrong one? There you go. So you got to see George Bowen's pedalboard. All right, so there's Darren Moore's guitar. There's can't see who that's from. Tim M. We got Nick Sametz as well. We're going to see some Jarrod Frost in here for sure as well. Now, Jarrod, you can't see this at the moment. You'll see it on the show after. No, it's going random. There we go. There's some Jarrod Frost with it all glowing like Christmas, looking pretty good. Brian Martinowski. He's got USA Wolfgang Custom and a Stealth. We've got there Brian again too. He's got the Lunchbox 50 watt. Another one. There's Jarrod's full rig. So this is looking pretty awesome. If you guys want to have your guitars featured here, there's Craig Stofko's what do I want to say, Stealth 5150. Dirty Apes Inc. Send an email to info@evhgeardiscussion.com. That is info@evhgeardiscussion.com. And try to watermark your pictures just with your name on it so you can have credit. And I'll show them here on the show randomly from time to time. And I'll also feature them in the gallery I have on facebook.com/EVHGearTV. So there we go. There's a bunch of them flashing by. I'm going to come back and go back to... Oh, there's another nice one too as well from John and Jay Garardi as well too. Some great stuff. Jarrod, you'll have to take a peek at some of these. And I know you've seen a lot of them as well too. But send them along. We'd be more than happy to share with you guys as well. So, Jarrod, have the rest of a fantastic Sunday evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend before heading back to the work tomorrow. And I invite everybody to come back again and see us real soon.
Thank you.
Awesome. Pleasure to have you back on again, buddy.
Me too.
I'm going to say goodbye to you.
For having me.
No, my pleasure as well. It's nice to show off these 5150s and show our love for them as well, too. And I'm glad we got to hear you play today.
Thank you.
So stay by for about 2 seconds. I'll say goodbye to you off the air. And everyone, thanks so much. I appreciate hanging out with you today. See you real soon. Cheers.
Hey, my name is Eric, and I'm playing the Frankenstrat guitar.
Video production services provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website photography and video production needs.